Do you want to summarize this next one?
Yeah, I think you'd be better at it than I
I'm
am.
not sure if I am because I've been trying not to follow it, but basically, I will try not to actually recap the entire conspiracy theory because it's
No.
not worth it. But it's the Blue Box slash Kojima conspiracy where people believe that Blue Box, which is supposedly a Turkish developer, is working on a game that looks to be like a survival horror game. But at the same time, Kojima has been attached to Silent Hills when it was announced as PT. But before Kojima and Konami had their sort of like divorce, which caused Silent Hills to be thrown away, and Kojima and Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro to focus instead on
The walking simulator.
why am I blanking on the name?
I am too.
You own it.
I do. And I played through the whole thing.
Yes. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding, yes. So it forced them to work on that, and Sony sort of obviously funded the project in large part. So there's been rumors swirling that Konami has been shopping the Silent Hill IP for some time, and Sony very likely has picked it up to create a Silent Hill that's exclusive to the PlayStation, and possibly getting Hideo Kojima to do the work they started with PT, which would be amazing. And I think everybody's like, it would be amazing because the PT demo is probably some of the best gaming experience that's been created in the last, I don't know, 5 years. I don't know how long ago it was. The point is, this has long been rumored. It's people think it's right around the corner. There's good reason to believe that it might actually be. And people started putting together like this. Blue Box Gaming has a lot of weird inconsistencies about how they set up their logo, where they've come from, the trailers that they've announced, kind of them teasing stuff. And one of the major tip-off points was like, I think the owner of Blue Box had written a tweet that was like something like, we can't wait to show you more. This game starts with an S and ends with an L, and people were like, he's talking about Silent Hill. It has to be Silent Hill, thus expanding into the broader internet, and the broader internet like looking into every aspect and coincidence and somehow attributing it back to Kojima, whether it's true or not. There's good reason for them to believe what they believe, but there's also reason to say like what we're being told should just be taken at face value.
Until such a time as I guess to an extent, it's hard to say with Kojima because he really does like to feed the trolls.
Yeah, I mean, this is like one of the questions, which is like, why has this started, and who's feeding into these in the first place to make it happen? Right. So, on your topic of Kojima, like, how does Kojima sort of, if this is not true and this is not Silent Hill and he's not attached to this game at all, how has he contributed to making this a problem?
Do you think that the video that came out with that was what came out yesterday, the day before, was posted by PlayStation Studios, I think, and it had a recording of him on it going, "I'm back," whatever, which was this kind of like it was an announcement trailer for Silent Hill Abandoned, which I think previously it was announced that the game Blue Box was working on was
Abandoned, yeah.
Called Abandoned, yeah. And then combine that with the SL, and this kind of puts it together, Silent Hill Abandoned. Except that announcement trailer, should we give it up right now and just explain it?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it contained a Rickroll. Like, you get into it right as the title scrolls across the screen, it switches into Rick Astley, "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Well, I think this is like goes into the point where it's just like, there's a problem that exists, whether it's true or not, that it is clear that this conspiracy theory has caused trending. And even the Dead Space thing, right? The Dead Space thing, which was not confirmed to be Dead Space.
Right.
Just this mere mention of a word in conjunction with, hey, EA is reviving this old IP, caused Dead Space to trend on in Twitter. And companies like Sony, and specifically Kojima, like to see these things happen because it helps bring press to their company. For the better or for worse, whichever it is, it kind of doesn't matter. The point is that they're kind of feeding off of it. And Kojima especially has created his own conspiracy in the first place, like Death Stranding itself, like and Metal Gear 5. Like, I think before the announcement of those trailers, like Kojima has fed into it. Like, do you remember some of the stuff that Kojima's done to like create his own conspiracy theories?
Yeah, I mean, didn't he's hired actors in the past and set up fake companies to make announcements of games that he's worked on? I mean, that's dedication. If you're going through and setting up actual companies, even if they're shell companies and there's nothing in them, you know, and setting up web pages and doing all this stuff just to troll people.
Yeah, I mean, he likes to create his own metagames.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. He's like creating his own real life metagame.
Yeah.
And yeah, he did that for Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, when Metal Gear Solid 5 was announced, it wasn't announced as Metal Gear Solid 5. It says something else, like Phantom Pain. I think it was what it was called, like Phantom Pain. And there was lots of weird imagery and someone that, you know, did not appear to look like Snake exactly. And, you know, robotic arms and stuff like that, all like was misleading, but people were like, I think Kojima's attached to this. And, you know, the teaser images, like if you do this, it actually spells out Metal Gear 5 or like whatever it's called. Yeah, and I think he created a fake company that created this game so that people wouldn't know immediately that it was a Metal Gear game.
Right. You're like, kind of why. I mean, I guess it builds hype, right? It gets people excited and trying to do things. People, I mean, Valve's done that with their Portal 2 announcement. A lot of games do that kind of thing where they give people like an alternate reality. I think, was it Halo 3? There was like the encoded the bees. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, there's always something, right? Like there's like always like these ARG experiences. And like Kojima certainly likes doing it. So people aren't wrong to be going off on weird tangents with like, I think Kojima's attached to the Silent Hill game, which there's good reason to believe he is. There's good reason to believe why he'd be working with Sony, and there's good reason to be suspicious of this abandoned game that so far has had very little information about it and has been extremely cryptic in the stuff they've produced.
Yeah.
Do you think Sony's feeding into it? Like, do you think Sony doing the Rickroll?
Yeah, I think that's huge. And you know, at the very least, it's eyeballs on their content. Like, we know they're working with Kojima in some capacity. We know that they're working with whatever, you know, let's say that we know they're working with Kojima. Regardless, that's good for them. Any of this is just pure marketing and keeping the conversation going and the excitement around whatever Kojima is going to be working on. Excuse me. But let's assume that Blue Box is a separate company and they're also working on something else. This is building excitement for whatever that is, or at least awareness within the industry, right? And if Blue Box appears to be, they claim 50 employees or something like that, but on LinkedIn there's only one person, and then this is some of the internet sleuths.
Yeah, everybody who had a profile on LinkedIn were using stock images.
Yeah, and it was like 10 employees or something like that were actually found. So you're looking at it and saying, okay, so maybe there's something there. It's hard to say, but if there actually is a Blue Box team, great. Now people know the name Blue Box. They know what to look for. The name Abandoned is on people's minds. It's excellent marketing one way or the other, regardless of how you do it. Sony's doing a great job with that.
There just might be backlash if this pans out to be nothing, and you see like Sony like having like a shameless grab at the attention that it's grabbing. I mean, even us covering it is sort of hitching our bandwagon to this and being like, well, it might get us views. Sony doing it and misleading could certainly backfire in a way that's.
Yeah, especially if there is the case that, like, for instance, it is a blue box game. Blue Box is an actual company, and that game Abandoned is not good in the end. If people don't like it and it's a critical flop, it's a flop with the player population, then this goes down in the annals of kind of Kojima lore as being, and Sony lore as being, like, one terrible thing. People will look back at this and say, see, like, sometimes it's really just a conspiracy and it sucks. It could be.
And holding them accountable for, like, feeding into it. It's just,
right.
If this is not real, feeding the tiger with your bare hands is probably a bad idea. And this is what Sony doing to, like, the gaming population. It's like, Sony better pull through and actually announce Silent Hills or Silent Hill with Kojima attached to it, even if it isn't Abandoned. And it's like they are actually two separate games. Like, Sony's got to pull, rabbit out of the hat if they're going to feed into it.